All right, so fretboard logic. I just want to start these 10 weeks by saying there is nothing logical about the fretboard of the guitar. It's illogical. But I do have some ways of connecting ears to your fingers through some techniques of how to look at the different possibilities to play one thing. I mean, to play a one four-note phrase, I could come up with 25 different ways to play it and finger it on the keyboard. There's over 100 ways to play a simple one-octave C scale on the guitar, unlike every other instrument. On the piano, there's one way to play, or 8 ways to play a one octave, because there's 8 or 10 octaves, whatever it is. The trumpet, one way to play a scale. Guitar, no. You have an E note here, 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 you have an E note up here, and you have that harmonic. It's the same pitch. That's what makes it unique from any other instrument. And that's what we're going to explore over the next 10 weeks. So I just want to start with my well-constructed lesson plan for week 1. I want to start just by playing every note on the guitar, starting with the high E string. And we're just going to hit the E and we're going to play every note, 1, 2, 3, 4, shift up, 1, 2, 3, 4, shift up, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to the last note and back down on each string. I'm going to stop us at some point and just refer to what note we are actually on. Okay, so let's start with that. Nice slow tempo. One, two, three, four. What note is that? E, 12th fret, high E. Now, where else can you get that particular tone? If you look up the fingerboard when you're high, right, and you go to the next string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets, you get the same pitch. So I just want to kind of look at that as we go. Okay, now we're going to do it again, and we're going to go all the way up the fingerboard to the end and back down. 3, 4. There's your E. Keep going. We all have different amounts of frets. And I'm going to go down. Here we go. There's 12th fret. Okay, stop right there. 5th fret. What note is that? It's an A note. Now, where else can we get that same pitch? I'm not saying an A note, because that's an A note too, but it's a different octave. We could get it here if we go again up to the next string. It's on the 10th fret. Okay, now we go up to the next string. It's on the 14th fret. We go to the next string. It's on the whatever fret that is. So you have 4 options for that one pitch. And again, I'm just starting. This is a starting point for us because it's a complicated fingerboard. And we have to know where the various pitches are that are the same. That's going to help us to connect our ear to our fingers so we could play more of what we're hearing. especially after these 10 weeks. Hopefully after these 10 weeks. If not, I personally guarantee you no refund. No, just kidding. Okay, now let's go on to the B string and do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go all the way up. And down. Coming up to the 12th fret right now. Okay, stop right there. What note is that? G sharp or A flat. We'll call it G sharp. Okay, now where else can we get a G sharp? Look at this. We can get it down here on the E string. Sounds like Charlie Christian. We can also get it here. We can also get it there. Okay, so I just want to check those same pitches. Okay, now we'll start on the G note with the 4th finger on the 2nd string. 1, 2, D, send. And to the open B. Now where else can we get this B note? We can get it here. That's how we tune. That's how we used to tune the guitar. All right, can also get it here. Can also get it here. And there. All right, so good to look at the 5 different places we could get that particular pitch. All right. Okay, now let's move on to the G string. 1, 2, 3. And for all purposes now, we're going to go up to the 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, up to the 16th fret, and then descend. 2, 3, 4. That note and descend. Now I just want to think about now, there's G coming up to E flat, B. Okay, let's do that again, and every time we see the pinky, we're going to think and name the note. 1, 2, 3, 4. B. E flat, G, B. Now we'll do the first finger. I missed that one. E, C, A flat on the first finger and open G. Let's do the D string. 1, 2, 3, 4. The pinky, B flat, D, F sharp, D, tough exercise, B flat, F sharp. Okay, it gets tough, especially up here. Okay, here we go on the A string. 3, 4. C sharp. F. A. C sharp. B flat. Do the first finger. F sharp. D. B flat, A. And the low E string. 3, 4. Let's do second finger. F sharp. B flat. D. F sharp. F sharp. Let's do the third finger. E flat. B. G. Gibson. Okay, so that's where I want. Can you hear me? Go ahead, Bunny. You can unmute yourself.
Why do you sometimes say flat and sometimes sharp? Aren't they both?
It's the same. It's an enharmonic tone. Means, I mean, it depends what key you're in, if what you're going to call it. Like if you're in the key of E flat,
I understand
you
that,
wouldn't
but
call it E.
when you're going up and down the string.
Yeah, no, I don't think. It's just I name what first comes to mind.
Okay, thanks.
There's no reason behind me naming it one or the other. Because there's no key. I'm not thinking a key right now. Okay, so. Okay, next, let's look at this way. Okay, the guitar is made up of fourths. E to A is a fourth, a perfect fourth. And A to a D is a perfect fourth. A D to a G is a perfect fourth. Now here's where it really gets screwed up. The G to the B is a third, a major third. And then the B to the E is a perfect fourth again. I don't know. Sounds like a chord to me. It's the only thing I could think of. And it kept me up last night, like I said, thinking, why the third? I don't know. The only thing I could think, you have little forms you could just get with one hand. I don't know. But nonetheless, that's what it is. So let's look at each note, the chromatic scale, because that is the mother scale, all 12 notes in succession. You know, then all the major scales and patterns and 8 and 9 note scales, they, you know, are all derived from the chromatic scale. So let's take a look at the chromatic scale, starting with low E. Watch this. Now put your fourth finger up to A. Now, right, there's the other option. So for now, let's stay in this first position. Instead of moving up like we've been doing, going horizontally, we're going to go down. So the next note is A. But I want you to be aware that the 5th fret, 6th string is the same pitch. This is the connection I want to make of all the options. We got to start training our brain to see all the options. In this case, this is the first note in the low register that there's more than one option. This is the only way we can get E. This is the only way we can get low F, F sharp, or G flat. G or A double flat, just kidding. A flat. Now A, we have our first time we can have 2 options. Now we're going to continue because it's in fourths up until the B string. It's a pattern. So we do the same fingering because it's the same pitch each time. So it'll be like this. Now A, it's a 5-note per string pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, 1, 2. Now watch this. We're going to hit the B. Here's the open B now on the 4th fret because it's a major 3rd interval instead of the perfect 4th. So instead of being on the 5th fret, the same note, now we go to the 4th fret. Okay? So it's going to sound like this. If you want to play along, please do. It's 5 notes. Now we're on A, B flat, B, 1 note at a time, open string. Okay, we could go up to the 5th fret, but we're going to hit the open G. Now here, we're going to hit the B with the 4th finger, and instead of hitting the open string now, we're going to go right to the C note. You see that? Now when we get to E flat, we hit the open E again. And we continue. Now I'm going to have you continue horizontally, and we're going to go all the way up to high E on the 12th fret. A 3-octave chromatic scale. 36 notes, 36 different pitches. All right, let's try it together. Just to review very quickly, it's 5 notes per string. All right, instead of moving up to this, we go to the open. And since we have that interval of a 3rd now, instead of going to the open B, it's the same note. We have a 4 note per string on the B string only. I know, it's very illogical, but that's the way it is. So we have to... Oh, Rich has a question. I am going to... This is good. I like the way this is working. Hang on, Rich. You can unmute yourself.
I had heard that the reason they have it tuned this way is if they didn't have the 3rd there, you wouldn't be... The high E would be, what, an F? And you couldn't play
because of pitch?
barcodes. Yeah. You wouldn't be able to play barcodes.
It could be.
Chords.
That's what I mean, because you have a lot of that stuff, you know, the simple ways to get chords. Because even this, that's a 6th chord or a minor 7th chord.
Yeah.
It's an E minor 7.
I think it was Howard Morgan. He had on True Fire, he had something, and I was listening to it, and he was saying, you know, he said, how would you play an F bar chord? You couldn't if it was tuned all 4ths.
Right.
So maybe somebody...
I don't know. Carl Kress, I believe, tuned his guitar in all 4ths. He had a special tuning, but anyway, okay, we'll move on. So now let's play the 3-octave chromatic scale. Now I'm going to leave it up to you to start thinking about the option of, okay, we're going to the open string, but every time I could hit it here. I also want you to test yourself, maybe every E note. Know at first where every E note is in the 3 octaves. Then start kind of saying, okay, every time my 3rd finger hits, I'll say the note to myself. Just start testing yourself and being aware of what note you're on. And eventually, not only what note you're on, but then when you do say, and you're doing this and you say F, I immediately see this F and this F as my options. Just because I've been training my brain for a long time to see the options. So when I hit this note, even though I'm in the middle of an exercise, I'm saying, oh, boom, boom, and on to the next note. So just want you to think about that stuff as you do these studies, because these are real ways to learn the fretboard. And I don't mean learn it logically or anything like that. It's just ways to connect your ears to your fingers eventually. Okay? So let's do that. Let's put the metronome on. Nice and slow. We'll even go a little slower than this. Give us time to think. We'll go down to 60 on the metronome. A 3-octave chromatic scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Good tone. You don't have to press the guitar too hard. You just need a little tone. Here is the major third, so we go right to the C. Now first finger and first finger shift right up to the high E. Great. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Start thinking about the notes. Not every note, only once in a while. Great, great. Now, let's look at the fingerboard this way with the chromatic scale. Starting on the A. Let's look at 4 notes per string. That's a C note. We all know that's a C note. Where's the C note on the A string? 3rd fret. All right, so we know after this C, we're going to go to C sharp. Now notice that we did 1, 2, 3, 4, starting on the 5th fret. We go back to the 4th fret and go 1, 2, 3, 4, and that becomes the pattern for the first 4 strings because it's tuned in perfect fourths. So if we keep going 1, 2, 3, 4, down to the 4th fret, now we're going to go down to the 3rd fret, now we're going to go down to the 2nd fret, and now, because we have the major third, we're going to stay, because that's a C. There's C sharp. Once again, because that's the major third. Now when we get to E, now we go back to F, because that's the perfect fourth again. And we go up to the A. That's going to be a 2-octave, 4-note per string chromatic scale. All right, let's give that a try real slow. Remember, 4 notes per string, 1, 2, 3, 4, starting on the 5th fret, go down to the 4th fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, down to the 3rd fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, down to the 2nd fret, because that's the pattern on the perfect fourths, lower 4th strings, stays the same, because it's a major third, then down a fret. Okay, let's give it a try. 2, 3, 4. Stay the same. C, C sharp, E, F, and slide up to the high A. Once again, 3, 4. One more time. What the heck? I don't have a gig till May 2022, so might as well play chromatic scales. Great. Now let's look at descending. Okay, it's the same pattern starting on the 4th finger though. So instead of going down a fret every time, we're going to go up a fret every time except between the 2nd and 3rd string. Why? Because that's the only 2 strings that isn't a perfect 4th. It's a major 3rd. Les Paul thinks someone knocked the guitar out of tune before they recorded the tuning. But I don't buy that at all. So anyway, watch this. 5th fret. Now we go to the 6th fret. Stay the same. Now down to the 7th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 notes per string. See that? It's 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, same fret. You got to remember that for the 2nd and 3rd. And then up a fret every time, 4, 3, 2, 1, back down to the low A. Let's try descending. 2, 3, 4. Up a fret. Stay the same. I'm going to go up a fret. That's an A note. Up a fret. And slide down to low A. And that's our starting point. Let's try it again. 2, 3, 4. Good. Now let's go ascending. We'll do ascending, then descending. 3, 4. 4 notes per string. We're going to descend. That's it. One more time. 2, 3, 4. Every first note I want you to say. C sharp, F, A, C sharp, F, 2, 3, descend. Every first finger. F sharp, D, B flat, F sharp, D, B flat, A. Great. Great work. This is not easy stuff. We're not worried about speed. We really need to slow everything down and just play the notes in succession. 4 notes per string and 5 notes per string. Now, we're going to get into, just to give you a little insight to where we're headed with this, is eventually we're going to look at this as, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes per string. Right? We're going to look at it as 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're really going to, there's got to be 1,000 ways to play a 3-octave chromatic scale on the guitar. It's just nuts. The complexity of the fingerboard. Okay, so now, that's that. So this week, first of all, if anybody's new to these learning clubs, if you have any questions, the best way I found to do this is you have, within an hour, you get to review this session, download it to your computer forever, practice along with it, stop it, whatever you want, think about questions, write down the questions within 48 hours, send in your questions. By the end of the week, when you get the new code for next week's session, you get a video of me answering all the questions. So again, it's a great way I can write things out for you. It's a great way to develop this Fretboard Logic class too. So really think about questions that you have, no matter how silly you think they may be or non-relevant, ask away. That's how this course is going to develop to its fullest. Okay, so we went over the horizontal chromatic scale. We went over 2 different ways to play a long form chromatic scale. Okay, we've kind of developed, with the music we play, into these 7-note scales. A major scale is the most common one that we use when we play jazz standards. Okay? We've heard it a zillion times. We practice it. We practice it. We practice it. I want to take a look at the construction, first of all, of the major scale. We look at the C on the 2nd string. Okay, we have a series of half steps and whole steps. 1 fret is a half step. 2 frets is a whole step. And just bear with me if you know the construction of the major scale. I just want to show it to you in whole step or half step form, looking at it horizontally as if you would see it on the piano, because you can see the interval jumps. Okay, so C. The construction is a whole step, another whole step, then a half step, then a whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Let's all play that on the 2nd string. C, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and a half step. Let's descend. Half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step. Let's try it again, and let's refer to it not as C, D, E. Let's refer to it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and an octave. Okay, so let's play the scale and say the particular interval we're on instead of the note. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, E, 4, F, 5, 6, 7, and octave. Octave, 7th, 6th, fifth, fourth, third, second, and root. Okay, now let's go root, and then root, third, root, and then root, fourth, root, root, fifth, root, root, sixth, root, root, seventh, root, and the octave. Okay, let's try that nice and slow. Yeah, that's a better tempo. Had too much coffee this morning. 2, 3, 4. That's a second. This is a third. Now a fourth. Now a fifth. Now a sixth. A seventh. All horizontal. Let's give 2 beats each, so we're not rushing through it. 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we'll do a third, C to E, back to C, 2, 3, now C to F, which is a perfect fourth, to C. Now we're going to go C to G, all horizontal, up to the 8th fret. And now C to E, A, which is the 6th, on the 10th fret. Now we're going to go to the major 7th, C, all the high B, the 12th fret. And now the octave. Okay, those are the intervals within the scale. That's how we make melodies. We use intervals. The major scale is really, again, the main kind of scale we know here in the music that we play, so that's why we usually gravitate towards that scale. Okay, so now let's look at this. I want to go move horizontally. Now, instead of hitting this C, I want to hit this C. Let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Now, let's switch to the first string when we hit the B note. Instead of going to the 12th fret, we'll go down to the 7th fret on the E string. 3, 4. Here we go. Switch and descend. All the way down the second string. Great. Now let's switch on the A note. After the G, instead of going up to the A here, we go down to the first string. 3, 4. Switch and descend. Good. Now we're going to switch on the G note. 3, 4. Switch and descend. Okay, now we're going to switch on the F. 3, 4. Switch and move up on the E string. Descend. We're going to switch on the open E. 3, 4. switch, and move horizontal. Open E, and D, and C. Okay, that's 7 ways already to play a C scale. So you can see with all the different C note options how we can get to over 100. Pretty amazing, really. And that's why it's hard to read music on guitar, because just the options. There are a lot of options. Depending what finger you're on. If you're on your first finger on D, you're not going to want to jump down to this E flat, so you get it right there. See, or you're not going to want to, but you may want to get open E. Okay, and that kind of leads me to the next thing, is every day, I think it's a good idea to take one note. It's only going to take a minute in your little practice session, which I think everyone should have at least a 20-minute practice routine every day. This is the way we improve. All the rest of the time after that 20 or 30-minute routine, then it's free practice time. Play whatever you want. All right, but it's good to take a note. So say I take a F sharp. Now I'm going to find out every of the same pitches, kind of what we did before. And the way we do that is we always move up for the next string, or down, or however you look at this. I look at this down the fretboard, not up. Anyway, you get the idea. This way, when we're moving to the higher strings, and this way when we're moving to the lower strings. So first figure out how many of the same F sharps there are on your guitar. Usually 4 or 5, sometimes 6 with a harmonic. Okay, now just hit every kind of F sharp on your guitar. That's it, done for the day. The next day you pick another note and do the same thing. Just a good thing to do because, again, we're trying to train our brain to see all of the options. And we need to kind of do that in the moment when we're improvising. You have these ideas going on in our head. We don't want to have the knowledge of the fretboard, so we can't play what we're hearing. And options is a big part of that. So, I invite you to, during the week, to pick a note, either on the first fret, open string, or second fret, and construct major scales, eventually going through all 12 keys. So say we have an A. Once again, the formula: whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Okay, I can write that down. Ask me in the Q&A. I'll gladly write it down. I have this all written out anyway. Most of you probably know this already. It might be new looking at it this way, horizontal, because a lot of times we don't look at the fingerboard horizontally. We just look at our 6 positions of a major scale. Okay, so, maybe every day pick a note. E flat. Might sound difficult. Oh, E flat. But follow the formula. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Okay, then you do 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 1. Try to sing it. 1, 4, 1, 1, 5, 1, 1, 6, 1, 1, 7, 1, 1 octave, 1. And now I invite you to kind of look at the jumping off points onto the next string. This is how we start to make the connections. There's really 7 ways to play a major scale on 2 strings. Only. I just went over it with the C. Okay, if you want me to go in more detail, ask the question. You'll get the detailed video. We have 10 weeks now to really dig into this stuff. Okay, that's why I'm taking a deep look just at the chromatic scale and the major scale to start. Okay, now, Lastly, for this week, I want to look at the 12 notes. I want to cut it in half. I want to look at it the way Sloanimsky, Nikolai Sloanimsky, analyzed. He had 2,000 patterns that he wrote out with the 12 notes for the piano. I kind of adapted it for the guitar, and it lays great. So we have a C to a C. Let's all get that octave. All right. Okay, if we use our 4-note per string approach and go, those are the 12 notes starting on C. So let's all play that just so we can play all 12 notes between the octave. 4 notes per string. Remember, when we're on the lower strings, we drop down, right, for the chromatic scale. And I'll count it off in a second. Okay, let's try that together. 2, 3, 4. Drop. Drop. Okay, good. Now, the middle note, that's the middle note, is F sharp. It's the middle of the scale. The tritone, sometimes referred to. Okay, there's your 5th, right? The base of a lot of chords, major 7th, major 6th, the rock and roll sound, the blues sound, that's the 5th. This is the one below it, the middle of the scale. Okay, so the idea here is to take and use all possible notes around it, including those. So the first one is this. C, C sharp, F sharp, G. That's the first 4-note pattern. Let's all try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what 4-note pattern? Now we're going to go up 1 octave, starting it on C. Right, we just played the octaves. Once again, C, C sharp, F sharp, G. And then C, C sharp, F sharp, G. And it sounds like this. Let's try it together. 3, 4. Remember, C and F sharp. One more time. C and F sharp. Those are your notes. 3, 4. C, F sharp. C, F sharp. C, and F sharp up to G. Okay, now let's do it starting here on this C on the 8th fret of the E string. Remember, C, C sharp, F sharp, G. C, middle point F sharp. And that lays really nice on the guitar. Okay? Django lick, 2 strings. Okay, and remember your notes are C and F sharp. That's the middle point. All of these exercises we're going to be doing in the next few weeks are based on the C and the middle point, F sharp. Okay, I have detailed videos of this stuff and PDF charts that I'm going to put up in the P Cloud for you to download to start going over. So you're going to have kind of a little lesson plan. It doesn't mean you have to do it this week. The beauty of this whole system is it's recorded and you get to download it, and you could take 5 years if you want to go through this stuff. Work at your own pace. Okay? Now, again, you're going to get the videos and PDFs of this stuff. 3 different places to play this on the fingerboard. I'm also going to put number 2 up there, which is not C, C sharp, but C, D. So it becomes a 1-3. Then F sharp, we got to remember the whole system here is based on C and the middle note, F sharp. You see that? C, D, F sharp, G sharp. Again, you're going to get detailed videos, practice along videos, the whole 9 yards. All right, so this is kind of the introduction. We're going to practice these in a second, but this is sort of the beginning of how we're going to look at the fingerboard. All right, it's a lot, I know, but it's a lot. It's a lot. So I think we have to play every note on every string, naming the notes occasionally on each of the 6 strings. We need to run the 5-note chromatic scale, 3-octave, the 4-note per string, 2-octave. And don't forget, any of these you can start on any note, because the cool thing about the guitar is if we know one chord, we know it in every key simply by moving it up and down the neck. Okay, so if we're, one day you're sick of A, start it on C. C, F sharp, E flat. Just check your notes as you go. I mean, again, I've been doing this a really long time, so that's still not easy for me, believe me, but it's easier probably than it is for you right now. Okay, so take it slow is my point. Okay, then the major scale construction, we went over that. Okay, take a note on the first string, open string, first fret or second fret, and use that construction, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, and play major scales, and then the intervals, first, second, first, first, third, first, first, fourth, so on and so forth. Don't forget, we need to start looking at, if we do play a scale in A for a day, if that's 10 minutes of our practice routine, we need to start looking at the points that we could drop to the next string and continue the scale. To always be looking at our options and develop our brain to think in the moment of the options. So we need to practice all the options. All right, and then the Sloanimsky 1 and 2, adapted for the guitar. Okay, next week we're going to start looking at the major scale in a vertical way as well, because we haven't really even started on that yet. But I do want you to drop down on the strings and start realizing that when you start a scale, right, you have options. Really start thinking about those options. All right, so with that said, let's practice a little Sloanimsky, very slow. Let's just re-go over the 1, C, F sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4. F sharp, G, C, F step, F sharp. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, F sharp, C. Okay, now let's do the whole step. One whole step jump. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, D. F sharp, whole step. Remember the halfway point. C, F sharp. One more time. 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Great. Now let's practice the 5-note per string, long form E chromatic scale. Remember that one? Okay, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is review. Now open A, 5 notes per string. D, don't use the open string because the major third. And now open E. Slide up. Keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to the high E. Again, 3, 4. We'll name every third finger. G. C, F, B flat, D, G, B, D sharp, and E. Very good. 4 notes per string, starting on A. 3, 4. Stay the same. C, C sharp. Slide up to A. Take a break for 4 beats. 2, 3. Now we're going to descend. Great. Now let's play the C scale on the second string. 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Whole step, half step. Whole step is 2 frets. Another whole step. And a half step, which is 1 fret. Now descend. Now 2 beats each, we're going to do the intervals. 1, 2, a second, and back to the root. 2, 3. Now we're going to do the third. 1, 2, 3, which you also have an open E string. C. Now we're going to go to the fourth, which is an F. 1, F, which you also have on the first fret on the E string. Start looking at your options while you're doing it. C up to the G, which is the fifth, which you also have there. To the A, 10th fret. And up to the major 7th, C, up to high B. And up to the octave. Somewhere over the... Here's another one. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. And I just want to leave you with application of these particular fretboard logic exercises. Always, try to hear what those intervals, try to pick out a song that has those intervals in it. That one, right? That's that sound to me. That's that sound to me, the 6th. Let's see. Star Wars. John Williams. I'll get by. So try to, fool around with that scale and make some melodies. Because that's what we eventually want to do, is play what we're hearing. So you might as well start now out of tempo with a scale and play some stuff you're hearing, whether it's a melody or some creative melodic line that you make up. It's a great way to songwrite as well. So with that said, any questions? Within 48 hours is the best. But even if it's after that, if something comes up after the fact and you're watching it, it's no problem. The main thing is to ask as many questions as you want, because that's the way, again, we're really going to develop this course to be the best that it could possibly be for everybody. All right, have a great day.